Another edition of Living the Dream podcast. I'm your host, Bethel Duran. Thanks to everybody sticking with me. The last episode that I did, I was talking about how I got COVID. Today's the first day where I actually feel good. It's been almost 3 weeks, maybe a month. I don't even know. Approaching a month. But today's the day where I actually feel good. So Happy New Year to everybody. Earlier today, I did a podcast that you can also listen to called Brownish with comedians Eric Rivera and Sasha Meny. So go and check that out. I actually put it up on the regular iTunes. So if you're listening to iTunes today, we appreciate you, or the Spotify, whatever it is you may be doing. But I can't recommend enough that you go on the YouTube. So if you're listening only, you got homework. You got to go and watch the YouTube of today's episode because today's guest is pretty cool. Been trying to connect with him for a while. Never met him. Actually, this is the first time I actually know what he looks like when I saw him when he popped up on the screen. Excuse me. And I'm going to be coughing a bit during the show because once I start talking, the shortness of breath is still there. So because of the COVID. But Julio Cortez is today's guest. He's a photographer for the Associated Press. Started following him about a year ago. I'm like, wow, this guy takes amazing pictures. And then little by little, you start realizing, like, wait a minute, I think this guy's from the Valley. Wait a minute, I think this guy knows so-and-so. You start seeing the connections. And I'm like, this guy's a big time Associated Press. And for those of you who don't know, Associated Press is a big wire service, one of the biggest in the United States, if not the biggest. And when you get your picture with them, it actually goes out all over the country. It's not like just only the LA Times, only New York Times. You are a wire service photographer. It's big time. And then you know me. You guys know my story. Anytime I see a Latino last name, I'm going to go and find out who they are, and I'm going to support them as much as I can and try to give them some shine. Then I go and find Julio, the photographer, and I'm like, damn, this guy don't need any shine. This guy's famous. Everybody knows him. I started realizing that everybody followed him and started going after it. July, the photo guy, is today's guest on Living the Dream. And the reason I keep saying we're going to have homework is because I'm going to show a bunch of pictures and he's going to talk about them. So it's interactive with you. We are live on YouTube right now. We will get to everybody's questions later on if you guys have them. And we even have some requests for some of his coworkers, his colleagues. Tell me what's going on. And this is one where I didn't really advertise he was coming on because it's Monday and the national championship football game is going on. But who cares about that? If you're like, hey, what time? Let's go. So he is in Baltimore, Maryland right now. Today's guest on Living the Dream is Julio Cortez coming through. Julio, thanks for coming on. We appreciate it. I'm glad to actually know what you look like and finally talk to you for the first time.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and see, with photographers and reporters, they don't talk. But I know with him, we're going to get some good stories because they love being behind the scenes. I'm an on-camera guy. I'll talk all day long. I'll talk by myself. But Julio is just talented. And one thing that I always have admired have been the photojournalists, the people who take the pictures. Because I have a camera and I take pictures, but I can't ever focus it. What you guys do and the ability to find the beauty in every shot, it's amazing. Respect to you for what you have. Now, take me back to the childhood. Julio Cortez, where did you grow up?
I grew up right there in the Valley, kind of all over the Valley, North Hollywood, Van Nuys, went to Arleta, so kind of everywhere. So representing the Valley for sure. That's why I got my San Fernando t-shirt. For you. I know you're a t-shirt guy, so
Yeah.
I wanted to, pump up the Valley. But yeah, I grew up there. I went to Madison High School in North Hollywood and Grand High School in Van Nuys. Graduated with my AA from Valley College. Went to Pierce and then finished that at CSUN.
Yeah, see, we have a lot in common, like our paths. I was a junior college kid, and then I went to Cal State for like a day. So when I heard you were from the Valley, I automatically assume you're a San Fernando kid. So I have a San Fernando High t-shirt out here, and then you go and tell me, nope, you're from Van Nuys, which is an insult to you. I'm sorry.
I knew you were going to have it. Like I said, my Grand Lancers right there. So just for you.
Yeah, and then what else you got? You go represent your Valley because you can't do this in Maryland.
Exactly. You got the Van Nuys Sherman Oaks, where it all started with my baseball, and then obviously this is my I want to wear it, but I can't. And this is where I got my stuff started at Van Nuys High School. I was an editor uh, the Odyssey, the newspaper at the paper there. So I've been wanting to do what I'm doing now since I was 12 years old. So the fact that I'm still living the dream is insane.
That's great. We really do have the same path. You were the editor of your school paper in high school. So was I. I was the sports editor of the Trailblazer at Carson High because it got me into the football games for free. I didn't know you could do this, this business, this world, whatever. I always wanted to work in sports. I'm pretty sure, just like you. And I was like, they put me in a journalism class. I'm like, this is cool. And then I didn't know what was going on. I just knew that I go to the football and basketball games for free. I'm like, this is cool. But I didn't know to do this. You always knew you wanted to do this?
Yeah, so my dream was to be a professional baseball player. I always wanted to play for the Los Angeles Dodgers. But when I started to realize I'm not good enough to do that, so how can I get on the field with them? So I live that dream now. With going to the games, covering games, and one of the things I love to do every spring training, I go with my friends. The Gold Fund Buccaneers. Shout out to my boys. We go out to spring training in Arizona, and we don't really watch any games. We just kind of hang out and meet up, and there's four of us spread out across the country, and so it's like I wanted to be in baseball, and the fact that I do that, it's great, but the fact that I get to photograph it on top of that, it's just insane and so blessing.
Man, you know what? We are okay. We're the same age. I was class of '96, and I realized like, hey, 11th grade, like you're not gonna play for the Dodgers, bro. You're not. You were. I was semi decent, good grades. I should have gone to like Chapman or Occidental or Whittier where I belonged. And I'm like, nah, I'm going to gain weight. I weigh 150 pounds. I'm going to lift weights. I'm going to have creatine. I'm going to grow. I go to El Camino the first day and I'm like, yeah, these guys are studs here at this junior college. Let me go to class. And that's where I took a journalism class. So it's the same thing with you. I was like, I wanted to be somewhere in sports. I thought I wanted to be a doctor, a lawyer, whatever it is, somehow get onto the field. And that's why the name of the podcast is called Living the Dream, because people ask me, like, what do you do? I'm like, every single day, wherever I'm at, I am living the dream. There's so many similarities between us, yet we're in a business where there aren't many of us. Like, you don't see many Latino photographers. You don't see many Latinos on TV in general in English. So the fact that our paths never cross, it's crazy. Like, I thought I would have heard about you by now, but but you've been an East Coast guy mostly, right?
Yeah, I bounced around after college. I went to Chicago, I went to Florida, Texas, Newark, New Jersey, and then I recently here in Baltimore. So I have been kind of on the East Coast. I miss California, I miss LA. Whenever I get to work with people out there, it's really cool because you get to see more Latinos with you. There's times where I'm doing an event and I'm looking around and I'm like, wow, I'm not only am I the only Latino, but it's just I'm also the age. Like, there's a lot of like age differences. So now that I'm kind of in my 40s, I'm kind of like in the middle. But early on, it's like, wow, I'm like a 27-year-old Mexican kid, and there's nobody like me like here. So it's been kind of interesting being out here, kind of quote unquote by myself. But somebody's got to do it.
Wait, so you're a Mexican kid that actually left the house?
Well, you can tell. Like I said, I did everything in the valley.
I'm still here.
When I actually got a huge break when I was a junior in college. The editor at the paper, the Daily Sundial, it's CSUN, told me, hey, there's a photo internship in Dallas. You think you want to do it? And I'm like, Dallas? I don't even know where that is, but let's go. And that was the first time I actually like really left the valley. The fact that I've been, everywhere now, it's kind of crazy, but I love it.
That's awesome. I started reposting some of your pictures a couple months ago, and every single time you post something around, I'm like, wow, this is awesome. Like, just talented. There's also like a lot of photographers, because I work in boxing a lot, like Ed Mulholland, who shoots for Match Troop and who shoot for HBO, fantastic, talented, and the sports photographers just in general, like John Suhu out here with the Dodgers, Andy Bernstein, and my friend Ty Now, who works the Chargers now. The ability to get a sports shot perfect is just mind-boggling. So I posted a picture of yours, and then all of a sudden, this guy writes to me and says, "Hey, Julio, he would be great on your podcast." I'm like, "Yeah, we're going to try to connect because he's got a busy schedule, also little kids, and just on the East Coast." And he started telling me that you used to walk around with a notepad in junior high, like you were like the kid who was like, "I'm going to be a reporter in junior high." Is that true?
Oh yeah, yeah. Like I said, seventh grade at the Madison Journal, it's the Madison middle school newspaper. They had an elective class to be in the newspaper, and I'm like, that sounds really cool. So, like I said earlier, it's just, it was my way of getting on the field. I didn't want to be behind the desk. I didn't want to be a lawyer. I didn't want to be a doctor. I just all I wanted to do was be in sports. If I can do baseball all day long, that's what I want to do. So I kind of found the way in.
But you're a little kid. Like, what do you know about being a reporter?
Oh, it's crazy. I just for some reason it just made sense. When I grew up in Mexico, the first 10 years of my life, I grew up
Oh,
in Tepexpan, Mexico, right outside of Teotihuacan.
wait. You grew up
And
where? Where?
Tepexpan, it's a little place right outside of Teotihuacan. It's kind of halfway between Teotihuacan and Mexico City. So
Okay.
I'm at kind of Chilango type, not hardcore Chilango, but and I'm also not hardcore Chicano, so I'm kind of like Chilango Chicano. So it's like
You're your own person. You're your own person, bro.
yeah, exactly. But, you know, I always used to go get my grandpa's newspaper from the newsstand. Give me the money and stamp me, and then I come back and try to like swipe the change. Yeah. So newspapers was always like an important part of it. So I just knew like reporters and being in news was cool and it was something that would get you onto the field.
So you left Mexico at the age of 10?
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Oh yeah. Yeah. We try to do the come in a plane to LA and pretend we're going to Disneyland on vacation, but obviously we're going to stay. But my mom gets nervous and she blows the cover, so we get dumped back in Tijuana. And just like a lot of the stories is like, hold my plate, we'll be back in 20 hours. 27 hours later, we were back in LA. We just hopped through a hole in the fence in San Diego, and I still remember it. I cried at that moment because through 10 years of my life, my parents are telling me, don't do anything bad, always do the right thing, follow the rules. And I knew we were breaking the rules, so I started crying. Like the famous words is, nobody asked me if I wanted to come to the U.S. And now it's like a running joke because it's like nobody asked me, but like it's the best thing that ever happened to me.
That's crazy. So you're 10 years old and you went through a hole in the fence. Here you go. No English, no nothing. You tried to go to Disneyland and your mom blew the cover, right? So like you're in Tijuana and we've like, when you're sons of immigrants or cousins, like our house was like the Ellis Island for all my cousins because they would cross, and then in the garage to get out on 2 weeks, maybe 2 months. It's like, oh hey, here, meet your cousin. I'm like, okay. I remember one of them came and he was exactly my age, and like the life that he had seen at 15 compared to me, I'm like, I'm never gonna complain. So you're 10, you come across, you do all that. And then you go to the valley and you're trying to figure out how to assimilate into the United States. No language, no English, yet here you are.
Yeah, it was very interesting. Actually, coming in at 10 was like perfect timing. My birthday is in December, so like in Mexico they put me in school early, and then when I came here, I was too young to be in the same grade that I was supposed to be on, so they bumped me back. And so it kind of helped because I went back into fifth grade. I did fifth grade twice, and fifth grade in Mexico, fifth grade here. But and it really helped because I was, kind of put me ahead of kids my age. And one of the things that really kind of saved me, I always remember is that sports was a big deal. Um, you know, I don't know if you ever heard of the Run for Fun, the LA Run for Fun at Griffith Park.
Mm-hmm.
But we did that. I did that. And, my teacher said, "Hey, you kind of run fast. You want to do this thing?" I was like, "Sure." And we come back with medals. It's like, "Oh, cool." And so eighth grade, we did the California fitness test, and I ran the mile in 5 minutes and 5 seconds, which was pretty fast for the state. I got a certificate saying that it was the fastest in the state, so I was pretty happy about that, and it helped kind of beat the pad. Like, so maybe I didn't know English, but people wanted to be my friends. Like, people wanted to help me out because I was the one picking for teams. Like, if we were playing baseball or soccer or whatnot.
That's such a crucial age because my older siblings, so there's seven of us. The first four were born in Mexico, and my brother Gabriel and Irma, my sister, I remember they came in elementary. So they don't talk much about it, but they've said enough stories where they show up, but it's okay. You get put into a different classroom. You get put into this where you get headphones. This was like in the 70s before I was born. And my brother's now a principal at Masons High in Maywood, and he's told the stories before, and like they don't really talk about it, but you've heard enough to where you could tell that's hard. So being in junior high is hard enough, let alone trying to adjust to a new country, trying to figure things out, a language barrier. But going back to like your journalism, you don't speak the language, but bro, they met this a journalism class where you have to write in English.
Well, actually, that's another reason why like I said, I talk about like finding the way in the system because English was hard. Like I think I always got C's and D's in English class, but
English is hard for English speakers.
Right, but when you do a journalism class, you can do a paragraph with one word and get away with it. So all of a sudden, like my lack of grammar and structure is kind of forbidden. So I was getting A's in journalism, but I was getting the B in English. Okay, so okay, I'm going to do this, and one thing is I started as a reporter at the LA Daily News. I covered high school sports on like the weekends and took phone calls in the sports department. So my goal was to actually be a writer, and at some point I realized, wait, taking pictures is far more exciting and more meaningful, and so it kind of switched.
This is it's like I'm looking in the mirror here because so my dad would deliver the LA Times early in the morning, so I would go with him like at 3 a.m. and put the newspapers into the news rack. And then I was the paper boy for the Daily Breeze when I was like 10 years old. That's when they used to have an afternoon edition. So when you're playing high school baseball in Southern California, this is the 90s, I always heard of a newspaper called the Daily News, but I never saw it in my life until I was in college because it's not a paper for the South Bay. So you would just hear these things and different stuff, and people always told me, if you want to get into the business, go work at the Daily Breeze and do high school games, work on the desk. And I'm like, I don't want to work on a desk. That's boring. I want to go to the games, bro. So there's like, we're in the same world here. I just don't know how to take pictures, but it's going on. So, all right, this is, man, we haven't even touched your control.
One of the things I wanted to mention is kind of how I came into, like you came into my world really, is you took a picture with Mario Solis at SoFi Stadium.
Yeah, this year.
And it got posted on Instagram, and that's how kind of like, oh, who's this guy? And I started following you, and like, oh, man, this guy's got a lot of my like similarities to me. And the reason it all happened is because like Mario Solis is my idol, man. And there's a video, and I wish I still have it. VHA somehow got destroyed or something. But when I was, I think 12 years old, we went to the LA Auto Show, and this is back when Mario had his show on Univision.
Yeah.
On Sundays, and I snuck all the way to the behind him, and he was interviewing the Colombia or Ecuador soccer coach. I can't remember, but I was just like sitting there in the middle, and I'm like, oh, this is awesome. I want to do this. I want to do journalism. I want to be, on TV. I want to record history. I wanted to do it all. So that was kind of like a full circle. And as a result of me commenting on your Instagram, like he liked me. He liked me back. He liked the story, and he started following me, which is like again like my idol is following me.
Yeah.
It's just incredible, like how this little world just kind of went back full circle.
Yeah, and that's the picture right there of Mario the first game at SoFi Stadium. And I've known Mario because we worked boxing together and stuff like that. And he's like the prettiest man in the world, man. I think he's like 85 years old because he's been doing Univision forever. And now he's on NBC. And I always tell him, like, damn, Mario, you're the best, bro. Like, he's all small and everything. So like, he's fantastic, but the nicest guy also. And I told him, I was like, Mario, we got to take this picture because it was a brand new stadium. That was the first game at SoFi Stadium. And I was like, as much as I've known you, Mario, for years, like, look around. Mario and I are the only Latinos on LA sports. I mean, doing TV in LA sports. Let me say that again. Mario and I are the only Latinos on English TV covering sports in LA. Mario is the full-time guy. I am a part-time freelancer for CBS. And nothing's changed in the 20 years since we've been in this business, you and I. And it sucks, but we're still trying to knock down doors and trying to get people out there. And it's like, look, that's why I go to different schools and I speak to them and say, hey, you can go and do it. You may not take my job, but there's a job for you somewhere. Dream big. If you want to be an astronaut, if you want to be the lawyer, you want to be a president, whatever it is, just dream big. Just because you're from an LA Unified school and you had lunch tickets and you know what a chalupa is, doesn't mean that, you can't do anything. You didn't go to the private schools, oh well. But don't ever let anybody tell you can't do this, because me standing at SoFi Stadium in a suit and makeup, getting paid to talk sports, if I'm doing it, then what the hell is your excuse? You went to Grant? Cool. Did you go to a Monroe? Cool. We can do it, and you and I are both examples of it. So, and that's kind of like, that's my preachingness right there. So, like, that's a different... Yeah. But you get what I'm saying.
That's the one thing I always wanted to, give to, young people out there, especially Latinos and, people of color that are trying to, think, can I do this? Can I ever follow, this guy's steps? And I try to help as much as possible because, I was that kid. When I was in high school, I talked to a lot of people at the LA Times, and a couple of them were Latinos who kind of helped me, like, figure it out how to, like, start doing some freelancing for the Daily News. And so, that it's my turn to kind of do that for them now.
Yeah. It's you've knocked down some doors, and it's like I like to say, send the elevator back down. Don't just close the door on it, because there's two. Like, I mean, we and I both come across people like this where they get to a certain level. You say, "Let's olvida where they're from." It's like, all right, cool. Don't trip, fool, because when you get knocked down, I'm gonna remember, and I ain't helping your ass. So I'm also very petty about a lot of things.
I mean, we all could be, but yeah. I'm all for it. I think I really want the rest of you to be it and do well. I mean, I'm just one example, and I want to be like the person that they don't talk about. I want like other kids to be talked about, and again, if anybody's out there listening and can find or kind of connect me to people that need the guidance or the mentorship, I'm all for it.
Yeah, it's we're all about that. We want to help things out. We want to do things, and a lot of your friends are actually watching right now. You see the comments. Paul Gillespie says, "Always great seeing Julio on local assignments." Next thing I know, he's been a rock star covering huge stories around the USA and kicking ass with great picks, and that's exactly what you are. All right, so tell me your job. What do you do?
So my main job is out of Baltimore is to cover the state of Maryland and make sure that anything newsworthy that's to the interest of the Associated Press gets covered. So whether it is I get to take the pictures or I facilitate a freelancer to make the pictures or reach out to our member newspapers, like Paul works for the Annapolis paper, and sometimes or a lot of times I bug his boss saying, "Hey, Paul took that picture. Can I have it for the AP Wire?" So they that's kind of the thing. Like, I am responsible for that. And sometimes I get pulled in other directions to help the AP report to cover whether sports or news or whatever it is. It's kind of a great place to be in Baltimore because it's a big city, but it's not like super busy. It's not like LA where you have, a dozen professional sports. So I can bounce in and out and go do the other stories somewhere else.
Gotcha. All right,
Um,
now, so when you left Cal State Northridge, CSUN, you were there, son of immigrants from, I don't even want to, how do you say your name? Where you're from?
the
Tepexpan?
Pex, the Pexpan.
Tepexpan, where Mariana Mellado is watching us from. Your family is there. So you got your family watching us right now. You,
Yeah.
right here, son of immigrants, your graduation picture at Cal State Northridge. What do you right there? Do you have a job? Do you know what you're doing? Do you know what's going to happen? And does your mom and dad know what Mijo got himself into?
What do you mean as far as when I graduate? Like what?
Yeah, right there. That kid right there.
Oh, I think my parents didn't really understand like where this was going to lead to. I think since I was already working at the LA Daily News, they figured, oh, it's gonna just be covering LA sports, and he's gonna stay here. He's never gonna move away. And lo and behold, when 2 days after this photo was taken, I drove to Chicago to start my AP internship, which kind of opened the doors for me to go all over the world. Like I said earlier, it's like, I was 24 years old and never really left California. I've been to Vegas a couple times, and that's about it. And now I think I've been in 4 continents, and I've covered a bunch of Olympics and a lot of world events. And I've touched all 48 states, which is kind of incredible. And it's all because of that camera. I think that camera made it happen.
Now it's amazing when you chase your dream and you're going it. So in college, you were already working at the Daily News. You're doing things. You know what you want to do. Your parents are like, "Mijo tiene trabajo," but we don't quite understand it. Like my mom still doesn't understand why I wear makeup and put on a suit on Sundays. Like it just doesn't matter. Like she didn't know of all the stuff that I've ever accomplished in my career. She didn't ever watch me because they don't have cable. Because at my house, it's Telemundo, Univision, and that's it. I'm working at ESPN and Fox Sports, and they're not watching that. So when they see me on CBS with Jim Hill, I was like, oh, okay, so he does have a job. Like that's like, okay, now it's validated 20 years later. But when you were
And you're with Jim Hill, which is like a personality like that we all grew up with. So it's like, oh man, the fact that you get to sit next to him, that he can do it. I want to do that too. So it's all mentality. I love it.
Is trying to just get that angle of like you can do this, but along the way, were people telling you, "Man, you go to Northridge, you ain't doing this"?
Well, one of my favorite quotes. One of the staff photographers at the LA Daily News when I was still kind of, the phone boy at the sports department, kind of, I'm doing like a 5-inch story on the local soccer team, nothing big. And I started to bring my camera around to just take pictures of games just because, I always have to be doing something. I can't just sit there and watch, 90 minutes of soccer, taking notes. So I bring my camera and start taking pictures and submitting it to the paper so that, we didn't have a photographer. If they want to use it, fine. If not, no worries. And he came over to me and said, that's great that you're taking pictures, but you focus on the writing. We'll take care of the photos. And that was like the fire that just like, oh, okay, I'll focus on the story. And it's like haven't seen that guy in 20 years, but the fact that I'm doing this and he's out of a job now, unfortunately, because of the problems in the journalism business and keeping people staffed. So it kind of comes and goes, and that's why I don't want to tell anybody like, if you want to take pictures, go for it. Like, how can I help?
Yeah, we always remember the people who along the way were like just jerks to you, and not that they were being jerks. It's just more like, look, you ain't doing this. But it's a lot easier just to be nice to people. It's not that hard. If you see a kid with like who's trying to do something, tell them this is what you're doing wrong. Not You ain't gonna do that. Now, if that kid is a pompous, arrogant kid from USC, because a lot of USC kids are, and that shout out to all my friends who went to Annenberg, because I always like to just remind them, like, just because you go to Annenberg, just because you go to Medill at Northwestern, or you're a Newhouse kid at Syracuse, doesn't mean you're gonna outwork me. Yeah, you have a leg up on me. Yeah, you went to the prestigious schools, and great for you. Pero a trabajar, way. Let's go. What are you going to do? Put myself up against yourself and the work ethic and the talent. Let's see what we got. Like, I have no problem with competition, but don't come in with this arrogance of like, this is what I've done. Like, nah, we're starting off at the same time. Now, you as a photographer. Go ahead.
Perfect. Go ahead.
No.
I was just going to say a perfect example falling off of that is, CSUN is known for the great broadcasting program that they have. Journalism is okay, it's not the greatest, but photojournalism is just kind of like not existent. The year I graduated in the summer, and then that fall, Jay Hong, who's an AP staffer in LA, graduated from CSUN. So like we have no program, we have very little direction, but you got two AP staffers, out of CSUN. When Jay came out of college. 2 years later, he was on the trail with Obama for AP. It's just like, he's a Korean guy who's working his way up and, mid-life crisis type of thing where he's like, I want to be a photographer. And he chased that dream and he does it, and it's all hard work because, Latinos, Koreans, we work hard. And just kind of top that off. It's like this year I'm in Minneapolis and I run into this kid. Brandon Bell, who is just a rock star kid right now. He's a young photographer from CSUN, and he's doing great stuff. He's got photos in CNN, photos of the year, Time Magazine photos of the year. And this is a kid who was just like, hey, there's something going on over there that's important. I'm gonna go. And when he got there, we all helped him out. He had $400 in his pocket and just went to Minneapolis to tell the story. And I kind of promoted him on my Instagram and said, "Hey, this kid needs some cash. If you got $10, send it to him because he needs it." Wow. Now he's getting a lot of work from Getty, our competitor, doing stuff all over. He went to Georgia for that, for the elections. He went to Louisville for the clashes with Breonna Taylor stuff. I mean, this kid is going somewhere, and he's a seasoned kid, and I call him a kid just because he's half my age, but I mean, the amount of work that he's doing is just, I'm so proud of him.
That's it. You got to have that desire, that drive. Now, before you get onto your career, now there's a lot of kids who want to be photographers, and mom buys them an expensive camera. Where did you get a camera from? How did you start with the photography?
Oh, I lay away at a pawn shop. I bought a Pentax K1000, which is somewhere on the shelf over there, and just $20 here. I would put.
Wait, hold on. Before you get into it, hold on. Because people probably don't even know what you just said. Layaway, which doesn't exist anywhere, at a pawn shop.
Right.
So it's like, hey, I want to buy that, and I'm going to come in little by little every week and just give you a little bit of money.
Right.
Dude.
And the guy had my camera on hostage until I gave him the $200 for the rig. And I knew nothing of photography. I finally got my camera. I was like, oh, great, we're going to go take pictures. And it's a full manual camera, which, you have to do everything yourself. I thought it was like one of those, like, you put the film in there, you press the cap back on, and it goes, and it loads it for you. It didn't do that. So my first two rolls, I just closed it and started taking pictures, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess it's done. Moving on. And I get it developed, and there's no pictures. The guy's like, your camera sucks, man. Yeah, there's nothing there. So somebody had to teach me how to wind it in and, make it work.
And now you have a lens that probably costs $10,000, right?
It costs more than my car sometimes, so it's insane.
No, I'm being serious, right? Those big long lenses cost how much do those cost?
My biggest lens probably costs about $13,000. And and wow. One of the most blessing part about it is I work for a company that says here's the material. You go make, magic with it. So the, fact that I went from a pawn shop to here's this car, drive it, is just incredible.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Like just the stories of where you get, and that's why it's called living the dream, because you had a dream, and every single day you get to go and you live your dream. It's. You ever think about if you weren't doing this, what you would be doing?
Yeah, I do actually. I took some classes at Pierce College just for fun. I was on the long extended college career because I
Oh,
didn't
me
have the
too.
papers.
Me too.
Uh,
I'm still matriculating. I tell people.
yeah, but the reason for me was, it would cost me, private school money to go to CSUN because I would have been an out of state tuition type of thing because of no papers. So I had to wait it out, and so I went to Pierce and just took a ton of classes. Like, when I finally went to Northridge, they were like, "Why'd you take so many classes?" It's like, what else can I do? Classes at Pierce cost $33 for the unit, and this class would cost me 3 grand at season. What do you think I'm going to do? So one of the classes that I loved taking was the anthropology classes. So I think I would have pursued anthropology, or just because I like, my kind of stuff that I do with like this craziness, that I probably would have been a firefighter or something silly like that.
I didn't even think about that because you're an immigrant. You had to pay a different rate. So I was a dumbass where I was just a terrible student. You were a good student who had the obstacles in front of you. Like it just seems like Julio that nothing stops you. Like not, if there's a wall, if there's anything, it's you're gonna find a way to knock it down and get through it. Like where's that attitude come from?
Well, a lot of it is it's people help me along the way. Really kind of open the doors for me, and they see that all I want to do is just get the job done, and don't cry about it, just do it. And I think they like that, and I mean that's kind of how I operate. That's kind of when I hire freelancers, to do a job, they're representing me. So when they go do a baseball game for the AP, they're also kind of representing me because I'm kind of in charge of this area. So
Yeah, but
I kind of
Julio, you're professional. You're giving the good answers. I get it. You're wonderful. You're super nice. But at the same time, you had a lot of built-in excuses if you wanted to use them. Right? A lot of
yeah,
people have that. But for you, the way you're wired, how did you see it? Where you're like, okay, this is an obstacle. I don't care. Yeah, of course, we all have mentors. We have people that help us. But I'm hearing your story and I'm getting frustrated for you. How did you not get frustrated? How did you stay locked in?
Oh no, it was very frustrating. But a lot of it was seeing my parents as an example. Both my parents are 17 years older than I am, so the fact that I can see their struggles kind of in real time. There was a time when I got in a fight with my dad when I was 11 years old or so, because I thought I wanted to be in the military when I grew up, and he's like, no, you're gonna get a leg chopped off or whatever, and then I was like, but I don't want to be sweeping, the mall like you do, which was horrible to say because that's how he fed me, but those were my dreams. Like, I want to do something that, like, you know, that I can push our family name forward. So, I saw their struggles, and I'm like, I don't want to struggle. I don't want to have kids that see that struggle. Uh, I want to do it, and and mostly for them. You talk about how, like, you had a lot of coming through your garage, um, you know, through the U.S. Our family is just us. Like, my dad was the first one who came to the States, and he has maybe like two or three cousins spread across the country. But it was just always us, and so, like, I really wanted to, like, honor that. I want to honor my parents, that how much they suffered and how much they gave up, so that I can be able to do this. So, you know, again, it's just, we got to make it worth it. When I graduated, I told my dad, like, you know, this is why you did it. This is why you slept at the pews of Placita Vera church. When you first showed up with $5 in your pocket. So I wanted to make it worth it.
It's awesome, man, and you're making them very, very proud. You gave them 2 grandkids now and everything. I saw the pictures on your Instagram, so that's awesome. Yeah, at the end of the day, all kids just want to make their parents proud, but I think as the son of immigrants and when you're Latino, it's a little bit extra where you're just like, they don't understand what you're doing, but they're beyond proud of you and what you're doing. And this is now where we're going to get into your career a little bit. Let's start off with what happened this past week. You were at the Capitol last Wednesday, and I'm just going to show the pictures. And this is for if you're listening on iTunes or Spotify. This is minute 40 on the YouTube. You go and check it out, and we're going to be showing a lot of pictures. A little slideshow coming your way. So you were at the Capitol, and I'm just going to show the picture, and you can see it. You took a picture of the Capitol Police, the state police coming through. What was that like?
This is in Minneapolis, actually.
Oh, this is Minneapolis? Okay, let's go back. Let me. That's the Minneapolis one. Here it is. The Capitol Dome.
Yep.
At night with the police in front, with the flag is there. Describe that picture.
Well, this is at the end of a very long, stressful, and scary day. My co-worker, John Minkillo, and I had been working a very hostile scene, and the police finally showed up to kind of take control of the Capitol, and we're getting pushed back. I mean, the fact that I'm standing in front of them doesn't mean like they're letting me stay there. We're kind of backstepping, and we're trying to just make sure that we get the pictures and we stay safe. It's having visual tidbits that kind of tell the story. So here, the flag and the dome and the cops. You don't see this every day. This is a historic moment, and that's kind of what my angle was on.
You were there all day?
Oh yeah, we were there for 3.5, 4 days, something like that. Just getting ready to do whatever happened. Just cover the news. John and I work together in Minneapolis, and we have a long history of working together, and so we knew it was going to get busy and crazy, so we knew what we signed up for. And thankfully, after everything that happened, we're both back homes with our families.
And this one right here is the violence that happened where...
Yeah.
Describe this one.
So we knew that there was going to be, an attempt to overtake the Capitol, so we focused on that. We went up ahead and kind of waited for this to happen. And just as we walked up to the steps, people are kind of overthrowing the barricades. And it's a lot of, a lot of stuff thrown around, a lot of, violent moments from both sides. And the crazy part is we're right in the middle of it. We're looking through the camera. We're trying to look at, for the pictures, we're trying to find the best angles. And meanwhile, people are swinging fences and batons and baseball bats and throwing water bottles. So it's, the fact that you get a picture that kind of, is composed and it shows you, a little bit of what the reality looks like. It's kind of like our goal.
Now you're in full riot gear. You have a mask on. It's hard enough taking pictures when the camera is at your eye. How do you take pictures with the gas mask on?
Well, we do a lot of the, kind of like this
spray,
spray and pray type of thing. Obviously that's not the best solution, but in situations like this, you train your hand to kind of angle the camera just in the right direction. So, you're trying to, the Capitol's over there, so I better swing my camera this way so I can get it. It's a little bit of kind of playing the dance. Where can I move where I'm not going to get hit? Where can I get this picture without getting in trouble? And then just get a good picture.
No, I'm asking a stupid question because I don't know anything about photography. Like I said, respect to you guys. How do you, in that situation, and you say you're spraying and praying that you get the shot, how do you get them in focus?
These cameras are great. I mean,
it's the camera.
Yeah.
Okay.
People always say you have a really good camera. In this situation, the camera helps a
Okay.
ton. You are just, aiming your camera like at that angle and hoping uh, that it's sharp. Sometimes you have moments where it doesn't all work out. Nikhil's camera got sprayed with tear gas, so it's dripping on the lens, is dripping, the substance, and he's trying to shoot through that. And some photos are actually beautiful because it adds a little bit of like, mood to it. Um, but there's also that obstacle that you got to go through.
Wow. So like the camera from the pawn shop wouldn't work.
No, that would be 36 pictures and you're done. You got to go somewhere and hide and reload, and then you can't just close the door and go. It's not gonna happen.
There's no zzz going on that day. All right, this one right here, the Capitol Police. You're at the barricade with the Capitol behind it. How intense was that scene?
Oh, it's so intense. I mean, like I said, the people behind me are throwing stuff at the cops. So, I got a Kevlar helmet on my head, and I got a bulletproof vest, or not a bulletproof, but it's just a vest. And you kind of hope that you don't get struck with something. And the reason we work together in teams is, you know, sometimes, when my colleague is taking pictures, I'll just kind of stand next to him and watch his back because I don't want somebody to come by and swing a bat at his head or something.
Yeah. Now, that was actually leading up to my next one, is on your Instagram, go and check it out. There's a GoPro footage of your colleague who was taken down by the protesters, right? What happened?
Yeah, unfortunately, he, just being at the wrong place at the wrong time. I mean, really couldn't prepare for that. How to avoid that. It just happened. But the part that I just want people to take away from that is just how hostile and how mean the situation was. And he was hands up. He was like, "Don't want to fight. I'm a member of the press. Just I'm cool. I'm not here to be a troublemaker." Which it takes a lot when somebody's swinging at you and trying to kick you and drag you down. So that's the main thing. And at that point, my job as a teammate is to make sure that this de-escalate it. So I'm pretty proud of how it all worked out because we both walked away with it.
Yeah, July the photo guy. Go and check it out on Instagram. The video is up. It's I even left a comment of just WTF, and it was like, what? Like, really? This is what's going on right now? The guy is hands up, saying, "I'm in the press," and they're just pulling him. It was sickening to see. It just really was. But go and check it out and see exactly what Julio and his colleagues had to go through. So you guys stay in packs together. You guys work in teams for safety factors.
You have to just because it's very dangerous and.
Crazy.
We had a similar situation in Minneapolis where our teammate from a different organization, Lucas Jackson, some guy just swung a crowbar at his camera and broke it. And the camera's fine. Like break the camera, no big deal. But the fact that Lucas didn't get hit was good. And again, we're together for that reason because as soon as that happened, we all kind of like jumped on the defense side, and we didn't have to throw a punch or anything. But had he been alone, it could have gone worse.
That's crazy. It's in sports you don't have that. It's how do you feel? This is the picture you're talking about in Minnesota with the state police. That was an intense moment.
Yeah, this is earlier that day from when he got swung at. So they're coming, and it's scary, but you just kind of threw a gas mask, aim the camera, and try to get something in focus, and just kind of like just for lack of better words, it's just a pretty photo because it tells you what's going on, and it's just got so much bang to it.
Yeah, like I to get behind the scenes, I asked Julio like, "Hey, just send me some of the pictures you want me to show." And as you're sending it to him, I'm like, normally I glance through it. This time I was like, wow, I got stuck looking at your pictures and going back and forth and I was like, what a night. This picture right here, one of your colleagues, asked me to ask you about this. What is his name? His name is Nick Wass. Said to ask you about the Minnesota flag picture, and I found it on your Instagram. This that's the picture I saw all over that May.
Yeah, same situation, kind of like at the Capitol. Is just a lot of stuff going on, lots of danger. Um, right behind me in this picture is the police precinct that got abandoned by the cops, and so it's full of rioters and protesters inside, and we're hearing on the radio that the gas line had been cut, and there's a real threat, and then here comes this guy with this flag, and you know I um I like to read a lot about history, and one of the things that always kind of uh, happens over and over is the flag is very present in a lot of historical images. I'm currently rereading this book. It's called Soiling of American of Old Glory. It's a photo that was shot in 1976, and it's incredible this picture because it's like
There it is.
center it. There you go. This high school student holding the flag and it's about to jam it into a black man who's being accosted. So I read this book about 3 years ago, and just the symbolism of the flag. It talks a lot about the history of where it happened. This is in Boston, so it's just because I know a lot of that history. I always look for the flag to kind of go. You think about photos like the Iwo Jima flag raising. You think about
Yeah.
Tom Franklin's photo of 9/11 where they're raising the flag. The flag is always important. It's an easy visual. So when I saw that, I was just like, I gotta get this guy.
This is really cool, man. I'm glad you're able to join us tonight. I know it's late for you. You got the little kids. That's why we like. I'm like, when can you do it? You're like, let's do it Monday because I don't know what my schedule's gonna be like. And sure enough, and so for those of you joining us live on YouTube right now, we appreciate it. All the nice comments coming through, and we're going down with it. Now, you don't only just do political turmoil and unrest. You do love sports, and you do get to work sports. Some of your pictures I was going through was really cool. This is the one that you sent me with about OBJ, like the one-handed catch. How do you sports photographers do this, man? Like I try to take pictures of my kids and everything comes out blurry. And I know it's the camera, but damn, bro, how do you do this?
It's so weird how this happened because you just had to be there. Eli Manning threw that ball, I think like 45 yards. It just so happened that there was 5 or 6 of us in that corner. I don't like to photograph football from a distance. I like to stay on the line of scrimmage and kind of be up close to the action. But for some reason, I went up ahead and everybody that was in that corner with me, Al Bello, Adam Hunger, uh, there's a couple others. They were, we all got it, and it just happened, and it's just a matter of luck. It just happened to be in the right place at the right time. Like, there's no way to prepare for this. There's no way to plan it's gonna happen. And I was lucky enough to be able to switch cameras because I had my long lens on Eli, where you see him as a little tiny piece there, but with my other lens you can see him full blown. And I had enough time to switch cameras so I can get the wide one and be able to get the full catch.
Now, you don't know what you got until you see it later. So when you do see that picture, what's your reaction?
Oh, when that happened, because he scored a touchdown, but then it was being reviewed. And when we cover football games, we have runners who take our memory cards and bring them into a room where there's an editor filing the photos. And for some reason that night, we only had one runner, and the runner was with my colleague on the other side. And I kept on waving, come on! I almost dropped my camera on the floor and ran the card myself because it's why is it taking so long? Like, this photo needs to be seen by the world. It's Sunday night. Like, all the papers are, if they're waiting for the picture, this is it. And right next to me, Al Bello, Getty Images, had a great picture. And I know his company's going to send his picture out, and it's like, who can get it out faster? Because that's really who's going to win. It's
Yeah.
whoever gets that picture out there first.
That's pretty cool. You've been able to cover a lot of cool events. Super Bowl 50, you had Peyton Manning and Cam Newton, and you were right there. Like, that's the picture that everybody remembers, the two quarterbacks embracing. What's it like being in that scrum right then and there?
Oh man, it's like being at the Capitol with people throwing stuff at you, because you are like neck and neck with other photographers, and we are like, if you're claustrophobic, this is not a place for you. And I'm not a tall person by any means, so the fact that I'm in there getting squished by, like, dudes that are a foot taller than I am, it's just kind of cool. It's a nice little, like, tug of war, and like I said earlier, I like this kind of stuff. So I think if I wasn't doing this, I'd be doing the firefighter thing. I feel like it's the same rush.
You've been able to cover a lot of events. I think you've done every single major sporting event, correct?
Just about. The only thing I have not shot ever is a World Series, which is, something
Really?
that I would love to do. And I've actually finally shot a postseason series last year when the Dodgers were in Washington. And one of the coolest things that ever happened, well, two really cool things happened within 7 days last year in 2019, well, I guess 2 years now, 2019. But September 4th, my son was born just upstairs here in our house, and our midwife was late, so I caught him. So I delivered my baby.
Whoa, wait. You were like Mike Socha back there?
Yeah, oh yeah. It's I had the full mask and the big old glove, and it just so happened, our midwife lives about 25 minutes from here, and we didn't think the baby was coming that fast, and he was. And,
let's go. Almost.
Yeah. So that happened, that day, and then exactly a week later, the Dodgers start playing in Baltimore, and they clinch the division here. And so there's, I know there's going to be, beer showers and all that. And Nick Wass, who submitted that question about the flag, he was covering the game for me, and I told him, look, if it's the 7th inning and it looks like they're going to win and there's going to be champagne, I'm sorry, I'm going to full rank. I'm showing up and I'm going in there with the boys. So I stood up in the 7th inning, saw the final out, and then went in there, walked right by Tommy Lasorda, rest in peace. I walked by him, was like, there's Tommy, of course he's going to be here. One of my most favorite moments is I'm taking pictures, and Dave Roberts shows me a phone, and why is he showing me a phone? Well, Max Muncy is on that phone. They're FaceTiming. Max Muncy was hurt, so he didn't make the series, but he wanted to be in there with the boys. So, like, I got a picture of Dave Roberts showing me Max Muncy live on his FaceTime, and then Jock Peterson dumps up a couple of Budweisers on my head. I was wearing this hat, and I still haven't washed it because it's like,
it's a different world.
Soured with Dodger victory. So,
yeah.
I try not to be a homeboy. I try not to be like
you're not a fanboy, but at that moment, look, you don't even live on the same coast. You could do it. It's all right with you. You ain't going to see that again. So you can fanboy inside. You're good. But you still did the job. You still got the pictures done. See?
Yeah, the pictures were great. It was so fun.
Now, one of the things that I've never done in my career, and I want to do it, is work the Olympics. It's the only thing I've never worked. This summer, you posted a picture about somebody that's on the Peloton, right? You bought the Peloton, and then you posted this picture about the Olympic rings. And I was like, that's just a cool picture. It's a young lady in London who had the Olympic rings drawn on her cheek, but you and her have a connection now. What is it?
Yeah, it's weird. Like, so when I started riding the Peloton, one of the instructors, uh, just for some reason just felt like familiar. I'm like, I've seen her somewhere. I know like that voice. I can like, there's somewhere like we either work together or something. But I never looked her up. I never said like, who is this person? And so this about a month ago, I was looking through all my pictures because on December 13th I celebrated 10 years at the AP. So I wanted to do like a post showing like my best photos in 10 years. And when I'm looking at my Olympics photos, this photo pops up, and it's not her full face, but the minute I saw the rings, I was like, it's her. So I checked the caption, and sure enough, she's one of the top instructors on Peloton. So it's kind of like
What?
people talk about having a photographic memory. Like that's definitely me because like it happens all the time. Like I went to a rally recently in Washington, not this week, but a couple weeks ago, and I ran into this guy, and I remember him from another rally in Pennsylvania. So like what is that, 80, 90 miles away, and I run into him. I was like, hey, you're that guy from that, and I told him your name is Brian Owens, isn't it? And he goes, how do you remember my name? Dude, because that's my job. I meet some of the coolest people every day, and you're one of
Yeah.
them. So.
Yeah, I'm getting reminded that I've never worked a World Cup. For the record, I don't care about that one. But I'm gonna say this. No, because I don't care about working that one. Because if for the World Cup, okay, we'll get to that story. For the World Cup, I want to go and get loaded at the World Cup. I don't want to work that one. I want to go and have the party. Because the World Cup, I'm gonna be Mexican that day, and I'm gonna wear the El Tri jersey. We're gonna be all right. Or I'll be Argentinian or Colombian or Venezuelan, whatever it is. But I'm gonna go party it up. So I have no desire to work the World Cup as a media member because it's boring. They don't let you go anywhere. Like you have the mixed zones, all of their stuff. So I don't need to worry about working the World Cup. All right, Jefe, who's watching me right now, but you've worked the World Cup.
I did. I was very lucky to be assigned to cover Team USA in Brazil. So everywhere Team USA went, I went. So
Oh wow.
uh, they traveled like I want to say like 16 or 14,000 miles in within Brazil, which is the most any team traveled for their games. And so I was there for all that. And you do get some time to enjoy it and celebrate. Like the first game the U.S. played, they played Ghana um, in Natal. The night we flew in, uh, that night Mexico had played there, and so like we caught the end of all the raza just celebrating in town. And you don't, your game is not for another day and a half or 2 days. So what are you gonna do? You're in Brazil. You're with your people, and you just won a World Cup game. So bottoms up. So there
That's
is a
it.
chance to celebrate. I mean, one of the funniest things I think people can kind of mention about me is like when it's time to like joke around and party and be funny and mess around. Like I'll be the first guy. Like we like when we're in the Florida workroom, I'm cracking jokes. I'm being a nice super live guy. But once it's time to go to work, man, that's like it
A
switches,
trabajar.
and I'm just like, my wife, she's been a runner for me, and she's like, oh, it's don't even like get in the way. She knows that once it's work mode, it's work mode, and nothing's standing in the way.
Exactly.
So that's what happened in Brazil. Party a lot and then go to work for 90 minutes.
Yeah, for 90 minutes, you're taking the soccer pictures. I'm actually looking up right now. Somebody's asking, do you do your own social media posts? Because
I do.
so
I
all
mean,
that
I
you,
try to make it. I try to make them as interesting or fun as possible. Uh, so I'm glad they like it.
yeah, you've worked the Winter Olympics, the Summer Olympics, the World Cup. The only thing you need is a World Series, and you'll be good to go. There's also a picture that you sent me. This was a very interesting one. The gymnast, and all you see are the gymnast heels just cut up. Why did you send me that one?
It's my favorite Olympics photo I've ever shot.
Oh, that's an Olympic.
Yeah, yeah. This is at the Rio Olympics, and this woman is from the Italy team. And when I shot this, it just spoke to me, and it's like it shows just how much it takes to get there. These people work their whole lives to get there for 2 weeks, and then as a gymnast, what else do you do? Like you join the circus or like Cirque du Soleil, or what do you do? I mean, this is their Super Bowl, so this is like one photo that shows all that work in one picture.
That is awesome. And when you take these awesome pictures and the athletes get them, have they ever interacted with you and said, "Oh my God, I need an original copy of that"?
Not personally. I mean, very rarely do they tell me like I want that picture, but you see it. You see it on their Instagrams. You see it on their social media. And while other photographers might be tempted to come and be like, "Hey, that guy didn't license the photo," I'm just like, "Man, that person used my photo. Like, that's an honor." Like, you know, I, maybe the AP would want to prosecute, but not me, because it's, it's just truly an honor that somebody wants my picture, displaying, somewhere.
That's pretty cool. Now, this is the picture I was looking for when you were in Brazil, Cristo Redentor. On one of your off nights, you were able to go and get this picture.
Right. Yeah, I mean that's the beauty about this job is like you work hard and you get a chance to like really, um, you know, see things that like, I always tell people like this is like I'm representing my whole family, because when does anybody in my family would ever thought like to be in Brazil under the Cristo Rey, you know, or in Russia or in you know Korea. I mean, it's just incredible, and the off time, really I value that a lot, because it's like that's when I get to like really talk to myself and be like, how does this happen?
The kid from Grant High in Van Nuys. How many countries have you been to?
I haven't counted. It's got to be 3 dozen, maybe. I don't know. Uh, it's it's been a few. I mean, I did a little bit of pre journalism type of, or not journalism related travel. I was part of a mission that coached baseball in Hungary. When I worked in Houston, we went 2 summers. We went to
Of course you
Hungary.
did.
So
Of course, because who doesn't go coach baseball in Hungary? Of course you do.
it was so great. I was coaching a nonprofit soccer team in Houston, where I worked for 3 years. And somebody said, "Hey, you want to coach baseball in Hungary for like 2 weeks?" It's like, when do I go? And so that was cool. Like there was 1 year when I showed up and my luggage didn't show up. So like I'm trying to coach baseball in dress shoes.
You
Like,
know,
when you
Julio, you do know that there's people you grew up with who've never like have gone below the 10 freeway. Like they've never left the valley, right?
right, we all stop at Victory Boulevard. We're like, that's it. We might go to Dodger Stadium. That's
Yeah, Dodger Stadium is the farthest east you'll go. Hollywood to go to the Palace, back on Friday nights, Richard Blade, K-Rock night. But now we're going to age ourselves. Somebody is asking, they said, ask him about Elton John. What'd you do to him?
He has a really beautiful collection of photographs, and he has a great. I think he's got about 8,000 new photographs in his gallery. And he liked one of my pictures and asked to buy it so he can hang it in his gallery. So that was pretty cool. Uh,
Whoa.
the craziest part about it is, he asked, or maybe not him, but his publicist asked to get it signed. So while I still don't have a Elton John autograph, he has mine. And the most funniest part about all this is, you know, growing up in Mexico, I'm the shortest kid in my class, and people are picking on me. But they're not getting away with it. So I would get in fights all the time, all the time. I was just like, and they'd be like, here's a note, here's a note. Well, my dad had a really easy signature, so guess what? I just cut the middleman. I just signed the, the notes for him, and so when uh, when they finally found out, my dad, first of all, was really mad, and then he created a super like complex signature, which like it only took me like 5 days to crack it,
Mm-hmm.
um, but now like uh, my sign off on pictures, it's you know it's a version of his signature. So like I told him I was like, Ray, like you kind of the one that signed Elton John's picture. I just put the ink on it.
It's like Elton John has your autograph.
Right.
Yeah. People are like, oh man, so and so, like, yeah, he knows me. Wait, no, don't you know him? No, no, no. That celebrity knows me. I ain't worried about him.
Right.
He knows me. Ask him. He knows me. A couple more pictures that you said that were really cool. Where's that guy? The remote camera stuff. I love it. Especially in boxing when they get the overhead shots, or in hockey where they'll get the picture from the behind the goalie. You sent me one with this dude in the middle of the air. It's a circus shot. I don't know what's going on, but it is crazy. How did you get this picture?
So this is a camera mounted on a telephone antenna, and it's about 85 feet up in the air, and
Jeez.
he's diving into a 9.5 foot pool. And
Jeez.
this is a carnival that happens in Jersey every year for 17 days. And I've been going there for, when I worked in Jersey, I went there for like 8 years in a row. And, after the second year, they're like, you're the only one that keeps coming back. What can we do to make your life easier? I was like, just make it so that I can make really cool pictures, like facilitate the access. And, they were all in for it. This guy that's diving, Tito, love that guy. I don't know if he's on here, but he, unfortunately, he had a bad accident, and he's had like over 30 surgeries to kind of get back on. But he's alive, and he's healthy. God took care of him.
Jeez.
But he helped me make this picture happen. Yeah. If it wasn't because of him, I wouldn't have that picture. So, it's just you meet really cool people on the job, and if you're half nice to them, they're gonna be double nice.
Just be nice to people, man. They're gonna help you no matter what. And the people who are mean, you probably don't want them anyways. Keep those salty people out of here. The salados, get them out of here. One of the things that I haven't done, and I always wanted to do it, is take my dad to the Kentucky Derby. But once I started getting like better in this business, Canelo would fight on Cinco de Mayo. There's always a fight in Vegas that I'm working, so Kentucky Derby is always on Cinco de Mayo week, or the first weekend of May. So I've never been able to go to the Kentucky Derby. And I grew up going to the track with my dad to Hollywood Park and Santa Anita, and I've always been fascinated by the pictures that the photographers get of the thoroughbreds. And then I ran across this one where you worked the Derby. You also worked the Preakness. So like I learned geography about where the racetracks were at. So I knew that Aqueduct was New York. I knew that Pimlico was in Maryland. Kentucky Derby, that stuff. So, Golden Gate up there, everywhere else. So, like, when people tell me, oh, where's this track? That's how I learned geography and also fractions, because, a quarter, a mile, and everything else.
Right.
This picture, how did that happen?
That's just a camera mounted on the gate. You show up, super early, 5 in the morning, preset it, and hang it up there, and it's all a remote. I don't think you can see me, but if you were to like really zoom it in, I'm actually in the picture all the way to the right, or being blocked by a horse. But
Right.
but I'm triggering that camera with with the remote control, and that lens is just a super wide fisheye lens that creates that kind of look. But my boys who I know Oscar put a comment here earlier. He's one of the Gold Bond Buccaneers that I was talking about, and they love to get me going. So I shot a picture at the Derby. I don't remember if it was this Derby or another one that was like pretty cool. Like I can't even remember what happened, but it was it was like on the front page of the Times and all that, and I was kind of pretty excited about it. But Canelo fought that night, and my colleague in Vegas, John Loker, who you probably know, he's the AP
Yep.
staffer there. He had some great pictures of Canelo fighting, and of course, my boys at the Gold Bond Buccaneers, they're like, yeah, but that's a cool picture, but Loker got it better. So uh, so it's that kind of thing. I have my friends who kind of put me back in my
Yep.
place.
Yep. Nothing like your friends to remind you that you ain't nobody. That's why you keep them around until they need tickets, and then all of a sudden you remind them you don't get tickets.
Right.
You are really, really talented, and on your Instagram, you take great pictures of New York City, and like the sunsets and the buildings, and this picture of New York that it's just it's beautiful, man, because of the way that the moon is over the Empire State Building. Like, how do you do this?
This photo took 13 months to make just because, obstacles, whether it's weather or just life. Like I had to, do an assignment or whatnot. But and also trying to figure out the right place to line it all up. So after 13 months of trying, like it happened. And I used to do everything by hand. Like I would like write, all right, uh, if the moon rises at 62 degrees, then this is a good spot in Jersey to get it. Like I had everything writing. And the day I shot this photo, there was other photographers there, and I was like, how did they know? How did they know that it was going to happen? And afterwards, one of the guys approached me. He was like, "Had a look," and I was like, "Oh, it's incredible." It was like, I've been working so hard for this. And he's like, "Cool. So I'll see you at the next one." And it's like, "Yeah." And then he's like, "So what app do you use?" Like, what do you mean, what app? Like, I showed him my notebook, and he goes, "Oh no, throw that away. There's an app that tells you exactly where to stand, so you can get this picture." And I'm like, "Yay, of course." So now it's super simple. Like, I went to Utah for the presidential debate or the vice presidential debate, and I got there on a full moon day, and that as I'm driving in, I see a statue. I was like, all right, let's go in the moon. Pop up in the app. Okay, I got to go to that corner later today. All right, I'll be there. Show up, take a picture, go to dinner, done.
What's the name of the app for the
So
amateur
easy.
photographers?
Uh, it's called. There's a couple. There's Light Track, and then this one is called TPE, and it looks like that. Oh, it went away. Anyways, it's just called TPE, um, and it's a great uh, app. It just tells you like if you want the moon, if you want the sun, if you want the comet, like just how to line up so you can get that picture.
They're Marinama says a shout out to a friend Selena Canizales, who is an excellent photographer on her own. She's actually a big shot executive in the TV world, but she's an excellent photographer also. The Corona family out in the Valley, they're big fans of yours. You see them all the time. Oscar Garcia, who's watching us. I appreciate everybody who's watching us right now. I'm actually going to send this over to some of the journalism teachers that I know that they will be watching. So sorry for cussing, but you're high school kids. They don't even know what's up. And they're LA Unified kids, so they know what's up. So I put it up there. If anybody has any kind of questions, get it in as we're wrapping up. Right now, real rapid fire for you. Best advice you can give to anybody who's an amateur photographer on how to get the good shots.
Just keep working it. Look at what the pros are doing and try to copy them. There's not a picture that you're making that somebody has never made before. So, it's try to pick their brains. If your goal is to get a picture of a touchdown dive at the end zone, talk to them and see what they're doing. How do they prepare? Kind of like this. Um, but it really is all about like doing it over and over, like messing up, putting rolls in the camera and then not getting anything back. Like it's problem there. Just keep doing it.
Um, if you're a younger photographer starting off, say a kid in high school, they ain't got no money, but what should they look for when they're trying to buy a camera? Like, a starting off camera.
Yeah, no. I mean, I've always been a Canon supporter, and it wasn't until recently we got switched over to Sony. but Canon has great starter cameras. The Rebel
Okay.
cameras are perfect. You can interchange lenses, and the main thing is like hook up with a pro. Like try to see if they want an assist to be an assistant or just somebody to carry their bags around because they'll have the gear and like if I have somebody helping me out and be like, hey, you want to test drive the 400 millimeter lens because I'm not using it, and so that way you get your hands on it
Wow.
and start working on your portfolio. It's you know there are those of us out there who are have no problem in sharing our blessings.
That's cool, man. See, if you want to do it, kids, get out there, find the people who are doing the job, and ask them, hey, do you need help? Not, hey, teach me to shoot, but like, let me carry your bag. Like, let me be your runner. Like, especially at a high school game, because that could be huge. At a college game, like, if you're at CSUN, go to the Matadome. You never know what you might see, obviously, and get out there and shoot. So, all right, let's wrap it up because I know the kids are there and you might have to go deliver a kid next door or something. I don't know. You're the mid husband. You're not. Is that why your Instagram account says mid husband?
So you got to put it on the resume, and if it happened, like that's my whole mo in journalism. If it happened, record it. So there it is. I got an extra skill just in case journalism doesn't work out.
Yeah. I have a feeling you're going to be working in this until you want to be done with it, and you're still going to be 85 years old taking photography pictures. Somebody asked if you could show your kid's birthday series. I don't know what that means.
Oh, that picture of my son falling off the wagon. It was CNN's top photos of the year just because it's a cute moment, but it's on Instagram, and it's just a fun picture, and always a photographer taking pictures, so it worked out.
Hey, okay. Also, too, dude, like family members saying like, "Hey, man, can you take pictures of the wedding?" Like, you're not a wedding photographer. Like, you're there to party, right?
I've done like maybe 5 weddings, and I've done them to like people that I really trust. That because I did one when I was just starting out, and it was bad, and it ruined the friendship because they were not happy. Yeah, it was bad. Like, and like, sorry, I didn't know that there was like I was supposed to have a list of like everybody that was important for you. So like when she came back and said you didn't get a picture of my Aunt Bertha, I was like, who is Aunt Bertha? Like, you need to tell me. And you're like, you need to know. Like, all right, never again. And I've had Oscar Garcia. You mentioned him earlier. He's actually one of the few people I photographed their wedding. This guy, you should have him on here. He is also a great story. He's from the Bay Area. He's a Giants fan, so don't hold that against him. But he's a deputy sports editor at the LA Times, and he was.
Oh, I know who he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he is. He's my best friend. He and I met when I was an intern. We were both interns at the AP. We met in New
Okay.
York, and we walked around, Manhattan, and we had big dreams. I looked at him and I said, someday you and I are going to be covering, an Olympics or something huge. And then, fast forward to 2014, and we're both in Sochi,
That's awesome.
doing our coverage. And then, like we talked about earlier, game's over, night's over. Let's go see what this vodka situation is all about.
Yeah.
So, I love that dude, and he's just a great, journalist. He's, has all the respect from all of our colleagues.
Yeah.
We lost him at the AP, which was like super sad. He's doing great things.
Yeah, he's at the New York Times. He likes to remind us, but yeah, I know exactly who he is now. Yeah, I've heard the name. All right, so that's good, man. See, it's the thing. It's the name of the podcast is Living the Dream. You are definitely living the dream. You got to see the Dodgers win the World Series. You've delivered kids in your house. You're shooting photography. Oh, you know what? There's one picture. I'm sorry, I got to get to this one because we wrap it up. Where is it at? Is this it right here? No, it's the one about the migrant workers. Is that the no? There was a picture you had of the migrant workers in the fields, where they were just walking across the field, but it was something I could tell meant something to you. Like when you take pictures of something like that, like how much does that mean?
Oh, that picture is one of my favorites that that I've ever shot. I was in McAllen, Texas, working for a story for the Houston Chronicle, and just really cool. Like I'm driving, I'm looking for things that revolve around the story I'm working on, and then I see these field workers out there in the sun, and what's cool about it is it's not just so much that it's like speaking to me on the immigration part of it, but it's got all these lines kind of leading to the people, and it's kind of it's a visual picture that like really kind of looks good, it feels good, but on the surface it's that, and then deep down, you know, we're halfway half a mile away from the border. These are people that are working really hard. My grandpa was a jornalero, back in the day, like in the 50s, he came up and would work the fields and go back. So, so it just spoke to me, and that's kind of why I always go back to that picture.
Yeah, that's one that you sent me. I'm like, okay, we're using that one for sure. Uh, and here I was able to finally pull it up right there. The line, the symmetry in it, it's something that's simple but it strikes to you. Um,
Yeah, I mean, the main thing is like you can't tell who they are, but you know exactly who they are.
yeah,
Primos are your, abuelos. That guy in the foreground, he's got the light on him. Everybody else in the shadow, like, it's just that's the reason I love it. It's just like this is my familia.
yeah.
Uh, these are the people that are probably putting really smart people in college and leading our our people forward. So, and they don't mind doing this work as long as their kids get to, really take advantage.
There it is, man. That was cool. That's a great line. You don't know who they are, but you know who they are. All right, last one, because this was very artistic for me. Like a bunch of lights that people driven by every single day, but I never would have thought that this is a picture.
Yeah, no, this all happened because I was at a red light, and and I was actually on my way to a spot news situation, so I needed green lights, and I'm like, why can all these lights be green? Because they were all red, right? And then as I'm driving by, I was like, that's going to be a picture later. So I actually came back and ran in the middle of the street and back for like 3 hours, waiting for the right moment with the right person in the way. Um, and so like I could have a car behind me like about to run me over, but like I got the picture. So it's that kind of you know it takes a long time to get a picture type of thing.
That's pretty cool, man. Well, I'm glad we are able to do this. I'm glad you stayed up
Yeah.
for me, and we were able to connect. And now I know what you look like, bro. Like, I've only seen your pictures, and I've seen the kids, but now I know what you are, and we have so much in common. And definitely gonna do this again. And I told you that when you come on the podcast, you get paid in beer, but obviously you're in Baltimore, so I can't give you beer right now. But the day I see you, bro, forget the beer. We're gonna get a whole bottle. We're gonna finish it because there's so many similarities. We definitely got to do a part 2 for this. So if anybody wants to follow him, because you already do, because your whole crew's here, Yen Lai, Oscar Garcia. You brought your crew, man. You brought them strong. July, the photo guy, Julio Cortez, man, and really do appreciate it, and continued success to you, bro, and respect for what you do, and also for helping out the next generation, and to go from a layaway camera to one of the best photographers out there, man. Congrats.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate you having me. Like I said, when I found out who you were, I'm like, number one, super proud of how far you've gone, and also what you do with the living the dream podcast, where you have people that are like doing the stuff that we all want to do. I've seen it. I saw you have Arellano a couple weeks ago, and
Yeah,
I'm like,
Gustavo.
man, he's a hero. And then you had Martin, so it's like you know,
Well, I always say, like, when ESPN let me go 5 years ago because they were downsizing, I was like already 2 steps ahead. I always want to do a podcast. People are like, what do you want to do? I'm like, I don't want to talk sports because that's what I get paid for to do. But everybody has a story. You don't have to be a celebrity. You don't have to be super famous. But everybody that is living their dream has a story of how they got there. And I wanted to go and try to inspire somebody to say, you know what? I want to do this. because the fun jobs, everybody talks about them, but not many people are willing to do the job or the work to actually get there. The sacrifice, the moving all over the country, the living off a credit card to pay the other credit card, to pay the final credit card, to make sure that the check doesn't bounce. Like the family telling you should quit. Why don't you go get a job with your primo who's over here, has a good job over here, mijo? Like the hating tias, like all that stuff that we go through to go and chase a dream. And it's only a few select that actually get to do it. And I'm going to enjoy it every single day. Because I'm pretty sure you're like me. You got a lot of friends that are rich and a son of a bitch, where they hate everything about their life. And then they wake up every day like lying to themselves about how amazing their life really is. But inside, you know that they don't feel fulfilled. You and I'm not judging people. I'm just saying I may not have a lot, but I know inside of me, I am living my dream every single day. And I'm going to keep on pushing, keep on going, and keep on going after it. And every single person that is successful has suffered to achieve what they have right now. And hearing your story today, it's inspiring. It really is inspiring.
Thanks for having me, man. Like I said, if anybody needs any help, just raise your hand because I'm here.
All right. And if you need to deliver a baby in Baltimore area, boom, he's ready to go. Another edition of Living the Dream. We will talk to you guys soon. Rate, subscribe, all that other BS stuff that you got to do, blah, blah, blah. But continue to listen. And then if you were inspired by this today, share it. Let other people know. Let them hear it, especially high school kids, especially college kids. And if you're a college kid and you didn't get anything out of this, then change your major. And don't represent CSUN like that because he'll get mad at you. Adios, Julio.